And welcome SRL fans to what looks to be one hell of a match here at McDonald Jones Stadium. We've got two teams who both won their first clashes in round one at glitzy Las Vegas, both of which backing up tonight hoping they can score two on the trot. I'm AMAC in the box, and joining me tonight is my wonderful friend Jordan Lewis. How are things tonight, Jordan?
Things are going pretty well there, AMAC. Thank you for that introduction. And as you've mentioned, we've got an amazing clash on our hands today. Now, personally, I'm hoping that the Dolphins should take their pound of flesh against Newcastle. I'm looking for a little bit of revenge tonight.
Yeah, the Dolphins, they came out in last week's match as a bit of the underdogs. Not a lot of people thought they were going to do well, and they blitzed on the park. So if they can carry through with that form tonight, I think the Knights might have a bit of a trouble here today, Jordan.
Certainly will. The Dolphins are no slouches, and again, as you mentioned, last week proved that, and I really do think that Newcastle will be up to the task, though, to take it on. We should be in for very much into a classic game here.
Looking at the team list tonight, there's only one big change here for Knights. Ayrton Indurain, he has moved himself to lock. After TTM, he had a bit of an ouch towards the end of the match last week. So we'll see what that does with the Knights hit out. As the Dolphins, their first defenders tonight, the Knights get first right of reply. Cameron Smith already working his way up the ball. Now, I want to highlight a couple of people on both teams tonight who had outstanding games last week. The first person I'm going to highlight is the number 9 here for the Knights, Rousey Plush. They had one hell of a hit out, locking up some excellent numbers. Did you by any chance get a look at the Knights game last week?
Well, I definitely got a look at it. I was on the field there, mate.
And, of course, as I'm yapping away, the Knights, speak of the Devils, have had a bit of an error as the Dolphins. And so the Dolphins, it looks like they are going to be the ones with first chance of points here, as James Block already breaking up through the line, 10 metres out with the third tackle. Proving dangerous. Coming over, Allison, one hit up on the fourth. Slowly playing the ball there, eking out as much time as they can, as James again pushes forward, but is turned on his back. And so far, the Knights, it looks like they are weathering this. Looking at the Dolphins, who do you think tonight are their key players, their strike attack people out there, Jordan?
Well, the big one that stands out for me is always Kane Chapman-Kenny. Coming out of the fullback role, obviously he had a fantastic run last week, and as we've seen over the course of the last week, most of the wins have come from attack from out wide or using the outside backs there. So we can see a bit of a miscommunication with the wingers and the halves there.
Yeah, it was a really good grubber kick there from the Dolphins, and, well, unfortunately, there were no one really chasing it. On the other hand, though, the Dolphins, they were really smart letting that just roll over into touch, and they get themselves a 7-point goal. Personally, you said KCK. I'm really liking the look of this halves part pairing here with the Dolphins. As we just saw there was a really good kick coming out of the Dolphins, and if they can keep that going tonight, Jordan, the Dolphins should see some more victory coming their way.
You would hope so. Absolutely, you would hope so there. Particularly with the Knights getting the 7 tackle set rather than the 7-point goal. But yeah, as you mentioned, most games are won off your spine and off your outside backs there. If you can get them firing early, you're in with a great shot.
Yeah, you SRL fans, you'll have to forgive me for a bit. We had our Eels game last night, and I am feeling a little bit bruised and, quite frankly, a little bit head knocked. So bear with me as we come through the game, and of course Jordan will be there to slap me over the face if I make any massive errors, as the Knights bottle that one, unfortunately, and the Dolphins, they're hitting their way out in their first 10 meters. Here we go. Captain plays over the 20, fighting hard to get out of their own half. Lewis, good ball out to the wing, and down goes Townsend. But the Knights, they are resolute, and their defense is keeping them going, but that is definitely going to help the Dolphins there, Jordan.
Absolutely it is. Now, this is actually something that got us back into the game at Vegas there as well. The Knights, they've got great strike, and their defense is pretty on par, but it's the errors and it's the penalties that almost let them down last week. You let these Dolphins get in as easily as we almost got in, you're in for a world of hurt.
As Staggs links up with his lock, James getting all the way to the 40 for the second tackle. Good field position here for the Dolphins, but that is a bit of a brain fart. Straight out the dummy half, straight into the defender. TTM coming up, and a massive let off there for the Knights, Jordan.
Very much so. The Knights are now in prime position to attack. As we can see, Plush passing over to Realme. He's taking the hit up very well. Looks to gain an extra 5 meters there right to the half line. I think that they are well within a shot to strike here.
As Mayava links up with the other Mayava, and unfortunately Ewan is pushed back again almost to the 50, fourth tackle. Coming wide, the entire field to work with, and they're still going down those tram traps. Indurain plays it on the 40. The Knights, they're going to want a good kick chase here, because if they don't keep the Dolphins trapped, it looks like they're in for a bit of trouble. Townsend does a pirouette, and the Knights force them back. Not a bad set for the Knights, but they definitely didn't make the meters I think they were hoping for, Jordan.
They did not, and as you can see there again, Fordman just breaking the line, and all of a sudden that great position that they had and that great advantage, it seems to have evaporated straight off.
And a wonderful pass there for Bazinga, and off over the 40. This passing game from the Dolphins is top shelf at the moment, and the Knights, well, they need to get back into gear as Fordman attacks some retreating defenders, gets up over the 20 for their fourth, playing the ball. Very slow play of the ball. It looks like they're a little bit gassed already as plays. Pushes up to the 10, fifth tackle. Where are the halves? Is it Staggs? No, it's Lewis, who runs to the line, off to his fullback. A beautiful grubber, and already the Dolphins are over.
And as we said at the start here, it's the spine linking up with the outside back there. Kane Chapman-Kenny, he is already in like Flint. What a try!
Oh, very, very line ball, whether or not KCK was onside, but the refs are happy with it, and over and under. He had a good game last week, KCK, both in attack and defence, and if this is anything to go by, 10 minutes in, he is going to be playing chicken with the Knights for the rest of this match, Jordan.
Absolutely right. And again, Kane Chapman-Kenny, he's one of those players who can absolutely strike from anywhere. The Knights, if they really want to have a shot at shutting down this Dolphins attack, they need to focus on locking him down. Get him off position, get him off the ball, you're going to be fine.
A good conversion there from Captain Plays, and we're back for another kickoff. Here is Captain Pretzel. Probably not happy with his team there, but it's only 6 points down 10 minutes into the game. Is it worry stations for the Knights, or is it just get back to the play the ball, Jordan, and keep things as they are going?
Well, at the minute, we're only about 10 minutes into the game. I don't think you should really hit the panic button just yet. It's only 6-0 down, and we have seen bigger leads fall away with a lot less time than they have remaining.
As Plays collects the ball and chooses to run it up instead of pass it, which is a good choice. There is our previous try scorer already off up the field, and Captain Pretzel is screaming at his fullback to make sure he drags him down. There is My. Drags him down just shy of the 10. Second tackle. Coming wide. Hoping for some tired defenders as Staggs just hits the ball instead of passing it. Third tackle. Coming this way, James, good ball out to Lewis, back on the inside for KCK. He gets over, and that is 2 in as much as 2 minutes. The Dolphins are on one hell of a roll here, Jordan.
They are indeed. I would like to retract my previous statement where I said panic stations may not be necessary. If they're going to let through soft line breaks like that, maybe it's time for a bit of a change off the bench and see maybe if they can shuffle that 17 around, that might be something to shut down that attack.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say the Dolphins, they came into this season with a little bit of chip on their shoulder. A lot of people were calling them one of the slowest teams, and they are using that fuel for their fire. And, well, 13 minutes in, 2 points up, or 2 scores up, I should say. I think a whole lot of doubters out there might be rethinking their decisions.
Absolutely. But again, they've been striking from everywhere. The Knights, their line's just tired. You've mentioned it. They're looking gassed. Heads are already hanging down. It's only 27 minutes left in the first half. You should not be hanging head at this point in the game.
As an interesting passage of play there, Mellett seemed to pass it back to someone who passed it forward to him, and they are over. I don't think the ref saw it. The Dolphins are glad of it, and we carry on as we carry on. As Rangamai Hoani straight up the tram tracks for a second. Going wide. James linking up with Bazinga, who hits the line and makes some good post-contact meters. Third tackle. The Knights, it looks like their defense is back on track as Stags again hits the line up to the 40, which will take him out of any possible 40-20 kick here. Do we pass it back to Lewis, however? No. The center kicks it down. He's got the length. He doesn't have the angle, however, and my picks it up and brings it on back. Some smart play there from the Dolphins, Jordan.
It's a great kick from the centre there. It's not often that you see your edge players taking the kick. He had a great line on it, and I think he probably did have the right angle. It was just an unlucky bounce of the ball, which, as in football, that does happen.
As Plush plays the ball on the other side of the 40. Mayava hits the line and just can't get through. They've been able to lock Mayava down really well tonight, which is probably one of the reasons why they are 12 points up. As Pretzel takes a bit of a settler up to the 40. The Knights, their defense is starting to come back, but their attack is still, their attack is still lacking there a bit, Jordan.
Well, we were talking about miscommunications from the halves to the outsides before for the Dolphins. I think that one was definitely a miscommunication. You don't like seeing that, but it does seem to happen a fair bit lately. The kick obviously going into the back there, and now the Knights, they really need to rally. They can't let the Dolphins score again.
Bayes playing the ball over to Lewis, who spreads it wide through the hands out to KCK, who is met and forced back for their third tackle. 3 minutes until rotations, and I think a couple of boys out there are going to be racing for the edge as Stags gets a very lucky offload there. 15 meters out, fourth tackle. Very slow play of the ball as James gives it off to Bazinga, who risky line ball, but comes down with it. The Dolphins, their attack is starting to get a bit sloppy, which you can understand, but I don't think anyone's going to blame them. 12 points up here, Jordan.
No one's going to blame them, but I think it's not necessarily that they're getting sloppy. The team's just getting a bit frustrated. Pretzel's boys are doing what they should be doing, and they're frustrating them on the line.
As TTM takes the first hit up of this half and is pushed right back to where they played the ball previous. Flush out to Smith. Smith hits the line. Get some good post-contact meters, but they're going to need more than a couple of hit-ups here. As Realme tries to, get through that gap, get some good post-contact meters, but again, this one-out stuff is not going to work as Mai shows exactly what you got to do. Dances through the line. Lovely offload back to June, but she is brought down, and this is starting to look much better here for the Knights. Pretzel, long ball out Maxwell, up to the 30. Much better set here from the Knights as we're about to see some benchies come off and come on. Looking at the bench, is there anyone particularly you're excited to see here, Jordan?
Well, Bailey Munro likes to talk a big game. We'll see if he can back it up again. Obviously, he'll come in probably more towards the second half. Apart from that, Pancake Gamer, he had a great outing last week. I'm expecting him to do more for the Knights there again on the other side there as well. We do have... sorry, I'm mispronouncing this. I know we're very... obviously, we had a bit of a long trip home. Taita Kahia, I reckon he's going to have a great game for the Dolphins there as well.
And speaking of the Dolphins, they'll be the first to benefit off that bench rotation, and they're already up to the 40. So the Knights, they've tried to keep them out with some mixed options here. As James boots it way the hell down for Mayava, and Mayava cops a swinging arm for their trouble. That is definitely going to help piggyback the Knights out of their half, Jordan.
Certainly is. As I mentioned earlier, the Dolphins seem to be getting a bit frustrated with this Knights defense. You can't let your frustrations get the better of you. That's exactly how you're going to get them back into this game.
As into Rain, brand new lock for tonight's game, makes it just shy of the 40 for their first. If they can make a good push up the field here, the Knights will be in an excellent attacking position as Hodgkinson gets around 1, maybe 2, and has to have 3 bring him down, just shy of the 40 for a second. Mayava dances through the line again and is starting to prove one hell of an issue here for the Dolphins' defensive line. Playing the ball. Hodgkinson again dances through and is forced to be brought down. Slowly, the Dolphins are getting a grips on this, but the Knights are pushing forward. Leatu through. Good defensive run. 10 meters out. Here we go. This is the first attacking kick that the Knights have been able to do for a long, long time. I don't know what Plush was doing there, but, well, that is a little bit heartbreaking if you're a Knights fan there, Jordan.
It absolutely is. The only solace that you could take from that play is it's showing that the Knights have the ability to get out, but as soon as they say that, the commentator's curse strikes again, Mac.
Oh, and this is really the problem with some of these real hard defensive grunge fests. It exhausts both teams, and with discipline the way it is, that's the only result that happens.
Exactly it. As we mentioned, frustration's going to kill you, and both teams are showing that exactly why right there.
As KCK gets a bit of a hospital inside ball there as he works his way up. Bazinga tries his best as well, 45 meters out. Third tackle. They've got the entire field to work with, and they look like they're just working down the blind as Rahanga Maihoani again pushed back to the 40. Fourth tackle. The Knights, they're making up for a little bit of an error here, which is good for them as Kahika gets to the 30. Fourth tackle. Very slow play the ball. Coming across to Staggs, and Staggs boots the hell out of it down, and here we go with Hodgkinson again. Can't make as good a run, however, and with 14 minutes left, it looks like this arm wrestle is not being solved anytime soon, Jordan.
Well, we expected as much, but as you say, that Pretzel gets a big break. Something's telling me he's got an ear in the commentary box, and he just wanted to prove you wrong there. But yeah, as we said, he's done that. He's put us back into the game. Hodgkinson almost taking him over the 50. All of a sudden, the Knights are back in this.
As another slow pass out of dummy half here for June as they work their way up. 45 minutes out for their fourth. Here we go again with Pretzel. Good ball out to Realme. The halves linking up, getting to the 40. Considering how they started the set, probably not a bad end to it, as long as this kick chase can keep it going. As Keens boots it all the way down to Owners. And Owners trundles on up the field, somehow outguns everyone in the defensive line, and is outrunning My here. So that is one hell of a run here from Owners. Hold your pants here, Knights fans, because this is some dangerous running here from the Dolphins.
That was a great break from them. As we said, that now they've got their field position right back in the opposition 30 there. The Knights, now this is where they need to show some real grit. We talked about this being a defensive grind. If they can hold them out here, then absolutely they've proven their mettle.
KCK proving difficult coming up the middle, but met well with some good defense. Mellett passing it out all the way down the blind side. There's Owners again, an excellent run, but he can't make it through this time. Fifth tackle, here comes the grubber. Or maybe they go up over the top this time. No. Bit of an error there, unfortunately. They run too close into the line, and the Dolphins, they bottle that. The Knights are let off with one hell of a reprieve there, Jordan.
Again, it's the errors. We spoke about this many times in this first half. The errors are what's letting teams back into this game. The Knights, they had issues with this early on last week. It seems the Dolphins are having their fair issues today here as well. They need to start locking that ball up. Not get so excited, just play the game, get the 1%ers right, and trust your team to do the right thing.
And with 10 minutes left in the half, a couple of these boys will be starting to look a little bit more puffed than they should be. Smith up over the halfway, taking a settler through the tram traps for their fifth. They need to lock down their defense for this because they will not be able to cope if this goes too much. And here comes Owners one more. The defense hits him, however. That's a much better set there from the Knights.
Very much so. We almost saw someone getting taken off from not being square there. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. They seem to have learnt from that last play that if they just stand there and let them get through that line, they're going to be scrambling. They're going to be tiring themselves out even more. It's like I was saying earlier, get the 1%ers right. That's what's going to win you the game.
Speaking of the 1%ers, we might see a good kick here. Here comes Lewis, booting it down. He's definitely got the length, but already My knew what was happening and is there to meet the attack. My up over the 40. 8 minutes left. Is there any more points in this half, Jordan, or do you reckon this will be what we see going into the halftime break?
Well, anything can happen in SRL. We both know this very well from our own games. But no, I absolutely do see that there is a way for a try to be scored here. Like I said, if they get the 1%ers right, then anything can happen. And it seems that the Knights have sort of picked up onto that.
Yeah, lots of offload game happening here at the moment as Plush darts out of dummy half and does a big don't ask me as we keep going on up the field for their fourth. Mayava doing the exact same thing, unfortunately not as successful, but they do get close to that 20, which might put them in chance for a good attacking kick here, as Realme puts boot to ball and up high. The chasers are there, but Townsend comes down with it. Not a bad set there from the Knights, but with 6 minutes left to go, they're going to be wanting to put some points on because you do not want to go into the halftime break with a big old donut next to your name.
That's absolutely right. I got no notes for that. That is absolutely spot on. Ooh, here we go. The referee's having a bit of a word to Pretzel here, and I believe that would mean the next high tackle, someone is being sent.
Yeah, definitely not ideal, particularly with 6 minutes left to go, and with how many, let's just say, issues both teams have been having at the moment with their discipline. That could be some warning signs as James pushes it up to the 40. Some great field position here, piggybacking up the field. Harrison off the bench, up over the 30 for their second. Slow play the ball. Oh, almost dropping it there, but of course, the defensive line is there. They're slowly getting up the field, however. Tikahika playing the ball. Good ball out to plays as the captain pushes hard. Some good strong runs so far this half of plays. Lewis almost had no one challenging him until they actually hit the line. Pushed onto their back. The Dolphins, they got about 4 minutes and they're looking incredibly dangerous here, Jordan.
Well, the Dolphins, they don't want to be shut out from this. Pure and simple. They're finally starting to let cooler heads prevail. They were getting quite frustrated early on. We'll see if they can hold that momentum, because if they keep getting these no tries and being held over the line, that can really get you in.
The Stags bumped back and Millet is over. There you go, Jordan. They are over, and we might be going into the second half, 18 points to 0.
I believe we should. That's right near the money there. I don't see the Dolphins missing that. Good old Hayden Mellett, obviously the Welsh legend himself. What a try, mate. What a try.
Yeah, Mellett, he was a wonderful second rower back in SRL 1.0, and it looks like he's really successfully made the transition to hooker. So we are all incredibly impressed with how that has gone so far. Probably none more so than his captain, Justin Plays.
Justin, I had a word with him, and he said that he reckons that the game is going to be one up the middle there, particularly with those forwards, and particularly with the hooker role there being the most important in SRL 2.0 so far. And I've got to say, Mellett, he's really impressed him.
So with just under 4 minutes left in this half, the halftime conversations, let's call them conversations, not shouting matches. The halftime conversations are going to be very... Oh, there we go.
There it is.
There it is. Well,
my multi last time, I think I had that again.
We might have a whisper in the ear of the SRL better. Maybe we'll put on a bet for that for next week. As Smith pushes over the line and is put onto his back for the second. The Knights, they are definitely going to want to score here, Jordan, because this is probably their best chance all game.
Absolutely it is. They've got a fresh set of 6 right within the 10 metres. You can't get better than that.
As, of course, the bunker taking twice as long as any bunker we've ever known, which is, you know, they earn their money, if nothing else. Smith playing the ball. Realme, lovely ball out to Latu, bumps off one, hits the line, put down, 2 meters short. Oh, the ref almost pulling his whistle out then, but he keeps it pocketed. Pretzel, good ball out to Mayava, and there we go. The Knights are over for their first of the night, and of course it had to be Mayava.
My, the Queen of England herself. What a great try that was. I can already see Ian going over there to congratulate her. Obviously, the Mayava dynasty right there in force. What a try from the Knights, and that's going to bring them right back in. You can see the head starting to perk up. Obviously, getting the final word before halftime, that's going to do wonders for them.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of maths, but going in 12 down instead of 18 down has got to be one hell of a better proposition there, Jordan.
Well, the numbers don't lie, and they're currently spelling disaster for the Dolphins if they let that through again.
And Pretzel stares for twice as long as he probably needs to, just to make sure it did go over the line. 2 minutes left. So we've got, just under 2 minutes. Let's focus on the Dolphins. What do you think Justin Plays is going to be telling his boys in the sheds at halftime?
Same thing, hopefully it's the same thing that we've been saying all game. Let cooler heads prevail. They've proven that they know how to exploit the weaknesses in this Knights line. As long as they just don't get frustrated. As long as they don't get frustrated, they're going to do very well.
And a good pass out to Maxwell as he hits the line and gets buried 20 metres out. There is a possibility that the Knights can get up the other end and score this set, but they're going to need to do a bit more with the ball as they get just shy of the 30 there. Smith, Realme, back on the inside to Indurain, who was about 10 metres behind the offload there. Playing the ball, going blind. Realme, good ball out to Smith as Smith hits the line once more, 45 metres out, fourth tackle. Using the rest of the field. Good ball. Maori puts the line. They don't get quite as far as they can go. They need to make sure, though, that they don't score a little bit of a runaway try here, Jordan.
Well, with that being the time off there, as long as they can get the tackle, and there it is, they'll go into this, and that is exactly where the Knights want to be.
Hello, NRL Hotel. How can I help?
Yeah, g'day. I'd like to organise an early checkout, please.
How does the 60-minute mark of the grand final sound?
Perfect.
But I booked a final spot in round 10.
So it looks like that was cancelled in round 13. So if you can just move aside, though, we've got some genuine top 8 teams about to check in. There you go.
What?
All the best.
Really?
Penthouse.
Oh, you have got to be joking.
Going up the last?
Nah, down.
Yo!
So we've had some complaints. Is there any chance you can wrap this party up soon?
Yeah, sure. Just give us another couple of seasons, all right?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Is that all you're going to do to stop them?
Better than you managed.
Yes, rooms. Yeah, send up another 5 utility players, please.
Right away, sir. And shall I send up some more Panthers?
Ooh, sounds delish.
Any baggage, sir?
Yeah, heaps. Try 38 years worth.
Jeez Louise.
Can I help you?
Yeah, actually, got any wins against top 8 teams in here somewhere?
No, just have towels.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
I'm just waiting for Kiss Cam to come on me. It's not happening. Do you like it? Do you like it? The environment here, do you like the footy? Yes, we're on. Yeah, we're live.
You're not you when you're hungry. Snickos.
And welcome back here to the second half at McDonald Jones Stadium. Newcastle hosting the Dolphins. And unfortunately for those Steel City fans out there, the Dolphins, they are leading by 12. Halftime stats were a bit of an interesting read. Do you want to lead us through anything that you found interesting, Jordan?
The big one is Kane Chapman-Kenny was oddly quiet, I thought. Like only 120 run meters, which... Oi! There was a big hit. So only 120 run meters, which, that's great. But for a fullback, 120, with the amount of possession they had, 56% possession, that's quite quiet.
And, well, I don't know what Captain Pretzel said in the halftime break, but it's come out and led to one hell of a hit up right there. The Dolphins spilling it on the first hit, and the Knights already poised to possibly go over for another one, Jordan.
Well, they are. They're absolutely primed for it now. I actually did have the distinct pleasure of going down to the sheds and having a listen in, and Pretzel was giving them an almighty spray. Now, he was not happy about the fact that they've let 3 penalties go already. The errors, while quite even, the Dolphins have less of them. He was telling them, get your heads in the game, get out of it, and just start doing. Don't think, don't quit, do. Those were the exact words that he gave. As for the the halftime speech there from Plays. Again, he reiterated, they know what they're doing. They're here to do a job. Just focus on the job.
As Smith, one of the leading run meters of Newcastle, almost gets themselves over. Realme put onto his back for the third time in this set. They are peppering this line with one-up hits, but the Dolphins, they are turning them back over and over again. It's only a question, however, of how long it is until they can break there, Jordan.
Absolutely. Something's got to give right here. And the question is just who's got the better mentality coming into the second half.
As Pretzel decides to go up instead of through. We had Townsend, unfortunately, wasn't really challenged, and the Dolphins, with that excellent goal line defense, have earned themselves 7 tackles on the trot here.
Well, the Dolphins, they'll be absolutely pleased to get a reprieve from that. They were almost breaking. You could see it. It was just a matter of time. The Knights, that was probably one of their best opportunities to get back on the board. You got to wonder what could have been if that kick chase had just been a little bit better.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing is the Knights, they only really challenged those forwards in the middle. They didn't really attack the edges. But c'est la vie, and hindsight is 2020. As Harrison gets at least to the 40 for their fourth. Lewis off to the Dolphins lock, back to Edwards, who is hitting some well-retreating defenders there. So 20 meters out, 5th tackle. This 7-tackle set has gone very well for the Dolphins as Lewis puts it up. Not as incredibly deep as he probably wanted, but Owners comes down with it, and the Knights, well, they're ruining not only a missed chance, but the fact they're fighting out of their own half here now.
Well, fighting out of their own half is not great. That is absolutely correct. But what I would say from that 7-tackle set, that was kind of made to look a bit better from that last little gasp play there. Before then, they were hovering around that mid-line. That's what you would normally expect from a regular 6-tackle set. I have a feeling the Dolphins might be ruining that one just a little bit more.
Especially if they're going to let those errors creep back in and piggyback the Knights out of their half. Was that a 3rd or was that a 4th tackle error there?
That one, I believe it was the 3rd tackle error, which very, very unprecedented from this Dolphins lineup here today. Again, they're going to be getting words by the referee very shortly, I believe, if they keep holding the Knights down like that.
As Realme links up with Uemayava, who runs a lovely line but is met well by KCK. That, of course, means there is no fullback home, and they are going wide. Pretzel hits the line but just can't get through. Put on the ground, 10 meters out, 3rd tackle. They need to go across. They need to find the edges. If they keep hitting the middle, the same thing will happen over and over again as Maxwell plays the ball. Cheeky try there with Indurain, but unfortunately we're getting to a 5th tackle option, and here comes Realme. Grubbering it in. There are no chases, however, and Plays picks it up way easier than he probably should have there.
It's the kick chase again. That's the 2nd kick chase return that has let the Knights down in prime attacking position. They've got to start communicating here.
As Harrison pushes up to the 30 for his 3rd. Some good defense here from the Knights. They need to keep it up, however. Again, good attack. Good defense, attacking defense, I should say, as Plays push back. KCK tries going down the side, but again, Townsend is dragged down. An excellent defensive effort there from the Knights. This is something they can work with, but the Dolphins, they're not going to die trying, and they boot way over any of the defenders up the back. Here comes My. Through the line. Oh, almost pulled over the side as well. So here come the Knights doing what they can. Pretzel. 35 meters out, 2nd tackle. As you can tell, I'm just a little bit flustered here because I don't know where the points are coming from here, Jordan.
Well, this has been a very, very much a defensive grind kind of game, but at the moment, I'd say the onus is on the Knights. They need to be the next ones to score here. They're the ones that are getting in those positions better than most others. Big hit from the Dolphins there. I'm very surprised it wasn't called for a shoulder charge even. But no, the Knights here, the 5th tackle, they're already in the red zone. They need to get the kick chase on song here.
Oh, and Oh, no. Well, you can't help but feel bad for it because every time they get themselves in position, there's just a little bit of miscommunication. And you can understand that this early in the season, but when you're 12 points behind, you've got to be doing a bit more. As James, well, a lovely 20, almost 30-meter run there, 35 meters out. And the Dolphins, second tackle, they are working their way up to the 30. There's 30 minutes left in this game, and I don't want to write the Knights off, but it's almost, well, here we go.
Commentator's curse
KCK.
strikes again.
There he is, KCK, a third try, well on his way to saving quite a few SRL bettors out there. Unfortunately, though, not saving any of the hearts of the Steel City fans out there, Jordan.
Absolutely not. It's rare that you see the castle go quiet, but it is dead silent here except for the small contingent from Redcliffe there, of course. Now, we can already see old mate Pretzel there. We can already see him mouthing off a few things. I think he's giving his best Gordon Ramsay impersonation. Maybe that's going to get them cooking. I don't know, but they need to pull something out now.
Yeah, it was always going to come down tonight to one of these teams losing. Well, both of them won last week, but when you're looking down the barrel of 24-6, you can't help but feel done by some of the SRL gods and their fickle ways out there, Jordan.
Well, that's it. At the same time, there's only so much you can blame on certain things not going your way, those 50-50 calls, as we see another forward. Now, I've heard from a couple of coaches that that's something they were working on after last week. I'm yet to see any real difference yet.
Well, from the looks of things, at least one coach has been working on it because they seem to be plaguing the entirety of one side. And this, again, is where the Knights need to fight back. They've got 28 minutes left and they need at least 3 no, he's put onto his back. They need 3 tries or going up by 6 points each to at least level it. 28 minutes, that might be a little bit difficult, but if the Knights can pull it off, it will be one hell of a story, Jordan.
Absolutely, and we've said this time and again in this league, stranger things have happened. Now, at the moment, you're right, the clock is their worst enemy. They need to basically score in this next set if they want to be any chance. And as I say that...
Oh, it's a battle of the fullbacks out there. KCK's been over for 3. My mind's gone, shut up, it's my turn. Give me my second. I'm on my way up to my third. That was a beautiful pass, and here we go. We're about to go back to a 12-point game.
And this is something that the Knights needed. As we mentioned, they needed to score off this next set if they wanted to be any shot of potentially causing one of the greatest comebacks in SRL history, definitely of SRL 2.0. And Pressel, he won't miss this. It's right over the black dot. Knights fans, stay tuned. We have a game.
7 minutes left until we get our final prop rotations of the game, and we should be having some heavy hitters come back on. The Dolphins, even though they're in front, though, they're looking a little bit rattled out there, Jordan.
They are, and it's exactly the opposite of what Justin Plays was telling them to do in those sheds there. Keep their heads in the game, noses down to the grindstone, and just get to business. They're starting to let those fans just get into them a bit. As we mentioned, it's been somewhat quiet, but even still, a muted Knights fan is still louder than 50% of the rest of the competition there.
Oh.
As we see it.
Well, a knock-on followed by a high tackle. I don't know if anyone is a Shakespeare fan out there, but there is a comedy of errors out there on that field.
That's a very, very polite way of putting it, I would say. I'm very surprised by this ref as well, because as we saw in the first half, he did say the next high tackle would be a send-off. We didn't see a send-off there, so I'm wondering if that's even going to come into play potentially.
And if it would, that would be the first send-off in SRL history, from my knowledge. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but it came up with the Knights coming away with the ball, which... all things considered, is probably a good thing, but Maxwell cops one, and 25 minutes left. It looks like this game's going to have a little bit of everything in it, Jordan.
Well, never say that this game is not entertaining. It looks like the pass seemed to have hit the post and then come off the hand there, which First time I've ever seen that happen. Now, you mentioned first, if we do see a send-off, it will be the first time in SRL history. That is not true. We did see Eddie Oliver in SRL 1.0 get sent off famously in the first couple of minutes of the game, but it certainly would be the first time for SRL 2.0.
Now, was that a send-off or just a sin bin?
That would be a sin bin, but that is what we would be expecting from the next penalty. If the Knights do another high tackle, there would be more of a 10-minuter than a total you're off.
As Townsend makes it almost up to his 40 with a good return there. Plays linking up with Harrison, back to the 40. The Knights, they need to muscle up, and they need to muscle up quickly because they do not want to get to having to score a point a minute. As plays, quick pass back to Edwards. Edwards bumps off one and makes another. That's got to be about 30 or 40 meters there Edwards made. KCK back to Lewis. Lewis trying to punch through. Brought down just shy of the 10. Fourth tackle. Going blindside. Plays. Again, hits the line. He has been running tirelessly all night, and his head is at least touching the white line. Fifth tackle. They've had good attacks with the ball. And unfortunately, Smith has had to take it over. That's some hella good attack there from the Dolphins. The Knights, they are holding, and they are holding on hard here.
There's a great attacking run from the Dolphins there, but we've also got to say that that was probably some of the softest defense the Knights have shown all game. If they want any chance of winning this, it looks like we can see a couple of their players looking up at the scoreboard, looking at that clock. I think they're that time pressure's just starting to get to them a little bit here. They need to just start focusing on the football again if they really want to win this.
Oh, Harrison linking up with Plays again. That Plays Harrison linkage, there's been about 2 or 3 different offloads between those two, and it is damaging. Back on the inside to KCK. He's pushing forward onto his back. Couple of punters screaming in terror. Edwards hit off the ball. Here comes Smith. He is off, but he just doesn't have the legs. He can at least get 30 meters, however, and the Knights, well, they can thank their lucky stars because 20 minutes left to go, and they are working their way back up the field.
Definitely thank their lucky stars and thank whatever SRL gods there may be out there, because that was very, very borderline to being taken off the ball, you would think.
As June, again, had a massive game last week and has been kept very, very quiet tonight. So the Dolphins have definitely done their VHS work. As Smith gets just shy of the 50 for their fourth. They might have broken up down the field, but these Dolphins defenders, they've been able to reel back in that error. As Plush, who's back on the field as their final prop stint, gets up into Dolphins territory, and the Knights, they're going to have to kick. But again, the bell tolls and the clock is ticking away. They need to do something more than just this one-up stuff, Jordan.
Absolutely. And we've been mentioning the 1%ers, and of course that is a great way to get a foundation started for a game, but you need to also be able to take the initiative. That kick chase that the Knights have been showing there's been 2 potentially botched tries from those kick returns. They need to start getting up in the Dolphins' face. Now, defensively, they've been going very well. As we can see here, they've got the third tackle 35 meters out. This is pretty decent defense from them, given where they've been all night. But they need to start doing a little bit more.
As they make some good post-contact meters there from a bit of an offload to Lewis. They're finally back in the Knights' half. Townsend, he just takes the hit up and is pushed back to the 50. The Knights, they're slowly clawing back some of this field position, but they don't have the time. They need to do it in a much quicker fashion. Here comes Hodgkinson. He had some good efforts in the first half, but he is brought down, obviously looking tired here. 16 minutes left, and we're about to lose our locks from both sides, and I'm thinking that's probably going to benefit the Dolphins more tonight, Jordan.
Well, absolutely. Indurain has been one of the on-song players for the Knights there, as we see Joey June nearly making it to the 40-meter line. A great break from her. But yeah, we've seen probably more from the Dolphins in terms of getting that forward rotation right. The Knights, Indurain's great, but you need to make sure that you got someone there just as good to replace him.
As here comes KCK trying to outrun My. He's over the 20. Oh, just up to the 20, I should say. And that was a great run to start their set. The Dolphins, they look like they want more points, and they want them now. Lovely ball out to Staggs. And here we go. We got another final warning here. They're not kicking for touch, though. They want to attack right the hell now, Jordan.
Second final warning of the game. Knights fans, this referee, I've got to say, I don't like to be a rest fault kind of guy, but that should have been a send-off if the last final warning was anything to go by.
As Edwards tries out of half, but he can't really go much further. KCK does the same. Again, really good defense here from the ruck. Oh, Edwards, does he do it this time? No, he doesn't. And I don't know if Players is happy with that, but they've just wasted 3 tackles trying to do the same thing for the same result, really, Jordan.
Well, it's still going to benefit the Dolphins at this point. Like we said, the clock is the enemy at the moment. And if you're the Dolphins, you're praying and hoping you can hold them out. But they still need to put them away. They still need to play this game properly.
And there we go. KCK is over. That is a tick in the box. 4 tries tonight. The Dolphins win. There is no way the Knights can come back from this, unfortunately, as hard as they have tried. And, well, Justin Plays out there, he will be shouting from the rooftops because his Dolphins are about to go 2 up in Season 2.0.
Well, Justin, he looks relieved, I will say. He looks relieved. That Knights, they had a bit of a fury of attack in this second half. Looked very much like they could pull off an upset. But no, it's Dolphins ball. That's how it is. And by the way, it looks like KCK might be aiming for that Riley Murray record there for tries scored in a single game.
Yeah, Riley Murray, he had one hell of a hit out last week. Scored more points by himself than he did the entire Eels side. But here comes KCK telling him to shut up. I want my name on the board next to yours. And with, well, 13 minutes left, it could very well be done tonight, Jordan.
Absolutely could be, and it looks like they're going to try and go for that. They're getting the ball straight to the props to punch some holes for him. Looks like they might be setting up for a KCK Pfeiffer.
As Lewis passes it over to the man himself, who can at least get to the 30 for the third. Edwards, good ball to Tarangarai. Fordman, I should say, not Ford. I'm very, very used to the Fords in the SRL, and that was a lovely pass from Staggs out to Bazinga. Bazinga getting up over the 50. 4th tackle, up the tram tracks. Good ball to Fordman again. These props who've just come back on, they're looking a little less tired than they were when they went off. Hopefully we don't get any injuries tonight, Jordan.
Don't remind me of injuries, thank you.
Oh, well, it wasn't just you. Both you and your opposition were absolute gassed in that first half. It was one hell of a bit of a grind fest between the both of you.
It was. I will own up to that. That was probably from our decision to train in Prim. That desert heat just sapped us more than we thought it would.
As Munro Jones tries to get out of dummy half, but wears one hell of a knock and is pushed back. 3rd tackle. Mayava does the same, but again, is the same result in the end. And unfortunately, that's kind of what the night has been like. Pretzel. Oh, I was about to say a good kick, but unfortunately the wind in the Steel City here just took it way off course.
Well, I think Pretzel's pointing to the side of his boot. He's looking up at us in the commentary box. He's pointing to the side of his boot. It's come off there, I guess.
Well, here we go. 30 metres out, 9 minutes left in the match. Good ball to Staggs. Lovely ball to Rangamai Hawani. He is pushed back just shy of the 20. 1st tackle. Here we go. Edwards. Zinga. Hits the line. Is almost through the line. Good post-contact meters just shy of the 10. Going back this way to Staggs. Inside ball to KCK, who was almost over to equal the record, but it was a knock-on, and the Knights, they live to fight another day.
An absolute let-off there. No other words to say it. That was an absolute let-off. Now, the Knights, it does look like half of them are they're still fighting. They still want to make this a little bit more respectable. But you have to think they are thinking, yep, this is just almost game for us. As we see Hodgkinson making an absolutely brilliant break there. But you got to think, is that the last gasp there?
Oh, it's Hodgson. The number 3 at least gets himself up to 35. They lose 5 meters. But, you know, it is what it is. As Hodgkinson pirouettes through the line and up over the 30. A much better set here from the Knights if they can capitalize on a kick. They need, I think, at least a good consolation try here. If they can keep owners in check, which they do not, but he at least is dragged down by my 30 metres out, first tackle, 7 minutes left, looking towards next week. Is there any advice you could give to the Knights tonight at Jordan?
Just get this result out of your head. I know what it's like. This is going to haunt Pretzel and the boys for probably the rest of the week. They're going to be over-analysing. They're going to be thinking, what the heck did we do wrong here? You just got to get this result out of your mind. Next week is another week. Just get the 1%ers right. That is what the Dolphins have done here largely today. They've gone in, they've just set the pace from the game, and it's helped them immensely.
As Staggs plays the ball 35 metres out, 6 minutes left. Te Kahika, good crossfield kick to Hodgkinson, who is met by some very, very strong defenders. Less than 6 minutes to go, and the Knights are again fighting out of their own half. Plush, who's been kept rather quiet for this second half in their prop stint, which is no surprise because the Dolphins, they have definitely enjoyed the majority of this ball possession, Jordan.
Well, absolutely. Even in the first half, we were saying before, it was something ridiculous like 54% to 46% possession to the Dolphins. I imagine that's been somewhat rectified, but I wouldn't say by much.
No, as Plush does at least make it over the half, and Smith tries the same but gets brought down 35 metres out. The Knights 10 metres shy. Oh, here we go, 6 again. Commentator's curse, here we go. A Knights score here would be definitely something to go into the full-time beat hooter with. 4 minutes left to go. Blindside. Smith. He has been tireless in attack tonight, Smith. Unfortunately, his legs just can't take him anymore. As Munro Jones, long ball out to June, and June hitting straight up the guts. Over the 20 now, second tackle. The ref keeping the whistle in the pocket there. Smith again. That man is running 2 or 3 hit-ups per set, which is absolutely exhausting for anyone out there. Oh, here we go. Here we go, here we go, here we go. No, he's pushed back. Okay, here we go, Knights. We need a kick. And well, yeah. That basically sums up the Knights' night tonight, doesn't it, Jordan?
In much more or less terms, yes. Absolutely full of potential, but let down on that last play option there. Something's got to be done on those last plays.
Yeah, a massive hit up there from plays wearing a bit of a shoulder there from Plush, but he plays on. 5th tackle, 30 metres out. The Knights, they're probably going to end the half with the ball as Lewis boots the hell off my returns what they can, gets around 1 and is met with a line of defence. 1 minute to go. Can the Knights get over for 1 consolation? Linking up on the edges. Hodgson, push back. Very slow play the ball. I think both of these teams are absolutely exhausted right now, and who can blame them, with Kami Aloha getting over the 40. 35 metres out, 3rd tackle. Slowing the ball down. Pretzel, long ball out to Realme. The halves linking up to 30 metres, 3rd tackle. Going back across that way. Back on the inside to Kami Aloha. Sees a hole. Shrugs off 1. Pushed back. This is it. He needs to play the ball before the hooter goes. And it's not going to happen. That is all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. The Dolphins came away with the victory tonight. 30 points to 12. A much subdued Knights side out there, unfortunate. It is what it is. And, well, the Knights, they were good last week. They just couldn't back it up this week, Jordan.
Well, no, they couldn't. It was those little mistakes that just crept their way into the game. Once we are able to see a full breakdown of the match statistics, of course, that will probably show. It looks to me, at least, penalty count would have been something ridiculous, like probably, 5-2? Something like that. And it's those things that are they're going to get you. I'm sorry, you probably can tell I do sound a little bit frustrated. Like I said, I wanted my pound of flesh, but the Knights, I just don't know where you go from there. Like I said, they've got to get this game out of their mind now. They've just got to focus on next week. That's the best thing they can do. The Dolphins, they were just on song right from the get-go, controlled the tempo of this game. Kane Chapman-Kenny, 4 tries, just absolutely murdered them. yeah, there's nothing more can really be said.
As we go over to those match statistics. And, well, that actually surprises me a bit. That possession, 49 to 51%. It felt like the Dolphins had way more percentage than that, Jordan.
Yeah, well, I did mention earlier that I thought that the Knights would have clawed it back somewhat, but no, 49 to 51. That's a bit higher than I thought. I was thinking probably more 55 to 45. But no, that just goes to show that brief little period that they had in that second half that almost got them back into it. It was probably where they're getting a lot of that possession from. As we can see, pretty even on the errors there, 10 apiece, and yep, right as I thought, those penalties, 5 to 2. That's going to kill you.
Oh, although looking at those completion stats, the Knights, well, 19 out of 24 is what usually happens on a night. 23 out of 31 there for the Dolphins is almost criminal. I don't think I've seen stats like that for a long, long time, Jordan.
No, absolutely, you're right there. Now, that is something I know Justin Plays will definitely be getting the boys on the field to do a bit more of, and just learning to hold and lock that ball down. If they can do that, they're golden.
If we can come across now to some individual Knights stats, and, well, no real surprise, my locked down pretty hard by the defence tonight, making 163. Nowhere near the most run meters of a Knight tonight. Cameron Smith, 226 run meters for the number 11. 15 tackles, none missed. A couple of penalties, unfortunately, which, you can understand with how tired he must have been out there. But for your number 11 to be at the top of your run meters, that's a bit of a challenging night out there, Jordan.
Well, yeah, Cameron Smith was listed as playing at the number 4 for the Knights today. So he was playing in that centre position.
There we go. That's my concussion coming back in again. My bad.
But yeah, no, he absolutely was carrying the team. Him and Mayava, they were both carrying this Knights outfit. Obviously, the 2 tries from the Knights came from Mayava herself. Everyone else, it just felt like if it wasn't for Smith and Mayava, they just would not be there tonight.
No, a bit of a mixed night off the boot as well. A little bit of everyone having a kick out there. Where's that? Pretzel, 5 kicks for 155. Realme, 5 kicks for 139. Keen's doing a kick, and Hodgkin doing a kick, and, well, I think Captain Pretzel's going to have the boot out next week in front of whoever turns up to their players' training session, and making sure that they can get those kicks sorted. If we can move over to the Dolphins now. And again, some very interesting stats here. Of course, starting at the top with Barry Benson, who had no run meters, which is one hell of a hit out for a bloke coming in off the bench there, Jordan.
Yeah, well, I'd have to say if anything was really measured there, because I swear I've seen him have a bit of a run out on the park tonight. Obviously, having the 2 tackles to 2 missed, though, for 40 minutes, it's not exactly what you want from one of your bench players. I have a feeling he'll probably be in the defensive coaching there at the next training session. In terms of the other ones that we have there, Jazz Bazinga getting 106 run meters was a very decent effort from him for 6 passes, 26 tackles, 1 miss, 1 line break. That's an amazing effort from Jazz.
Yep, and of course, everyone wants to see it. KCK down here, 246 run meters, 14 tackles, which is far more than any fullback should be tackling. One unfortunate miss, 7 line breaks, 1 error, but 4 tries. That is a hell of a hit out for the brand new Dolphin from who used to be one of Manly's most cherished players there, Jordan.
And a player that we tried to lock down for season 2.0 there at Manly as well. I'm ruined that. But no, he was absolutely on song tonight. Very unlucky not to get the 5th try. We saw he almost got it right on the death there, but it was called back for a knock on. He'll be absolutely spewing at that one, I think.
Yep, although I think there might have been a sniper up there rhyming with Uzza. I'd have just made sure that record stands for another week longer. Captain Plays, though, massive hit out from the captain there. 145 run meters, 18 tackles, 4 line breaks of his own. He is definitely making that second row position his own, Jordan.
He is. Now, Justin, it's someone we knew from SRL 1.0, was always the first person to get his hands dirty. Anything that he would tell his boys to do, he would expect of himself as well. And that just shone through in his performance tonight. It was an absolute fantastic captain's knock there.
And I think that basically drags us to the end. This has been AMAC. I've been joined in the box with the wonderful Jordan Lewis. The Dolphins getting away with this one, 30 points against the Knights 12. Enjoy one more game on this wonderful Wednesday night.